All right, everybody. Hey, I got Pablo from Memphis. He's one of our certified agents. There you go. Pablo's representing today. But he's going to talk a little bit about himself, which is always good to get to know who's part of the certified agent network that's bringing in all these select properties to Roofstock. So, Pablo, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about Memphis and what's going on.
Man, I was not born in Memphis, but I've been raised in Memphis. So, been here since '92, so we're almost at the 30-year mark being in Memphis. I did leave Memphis for about 4 short years. I went to college in Missouri. Went to Evangel University where I met my wife. Best thing ever happened to me. We have 5 beautiful children from the ages of 14 down to 4 girls and 1 boy. And real estate is a family business. My dad was a realtor, became a realtor right after college. We own businesses. And today I'm very proud. It's really a privilege, a great honor to be within the Roofstock Certified Agent Network. As a realtor, I'm the broker. We got about 14 agents work with me. And our brand is 901 Realtors. So 901 is our area code. And if you ever like watching the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies, we got that grit and grind, the working family of Memphis. And that's what 901 stands for. So we're really honored to be part of that. And I want to say thanks for having me here, Mark. I'm excited about what you guys are doing. Coming out some amazing news. I'm listening to Roofstock everywhere. It's just a great honor and privilege to be part of what you guys are doing.
Great.
Investors nationwide.
Well, and just to give you a little feedback, we picked Pablo to be a part of the Certified Agent Network because of his tremendous expertise as a real estate agent, but also an investor himself. So he's very active with the local real estate investment association. So he's the perfect person to tell you about Memphis. So give us a little idea about what's going on in Memphis and what's the local word on the street that buyers coming from out of state need to know about Memphis?
Memphis is a great cash flow town. We have some of the biggest turnkey providers in the country. Started here in Memphis and still are very involved in Memphis. And because Memphis, when you look at the whole demographic, the whole metropolitan area, more than 50% of people in Memphis rent. And because of that, rents have been very steady. We don't have the huge ups and downs that people have to keep up with, bubbles, as we call them. And so you can get a great home. And because of that, rents have always been very steady. So cash flow wise, Memphis, I would say, is always going to be one of the top 5 in the country. And also the cost of living is very low here. We're going to show you some properties that you can go into Roofstock and some properties that we kind of curate that we find for our nationwide investors here with Roofstock. And you'll see that you can get a house for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Where I get people that call me from the West or the East Coast, and that's not even like a parking lot over there, I guess, where you live, Mark. That you can't buy a house for $70,000, but you can here. And $70,000 house that rents for $800. Some really good. The numbers are really good, and because of that, Memphis has been great for investors because they provide good housing, they provide opportunity. People are looking for affordable, great places to live. And so it becomes a win-win. We are very thankful for investors that come out of town, buy properties, they're fixing them up, they rent them. They win, we win. So not that I'm a self-proclaimed ambassador for Memphis, but we are very thankful for the investment community who has been great to Memphis.
That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about how you're looking for properties, because you're right. It is a curated site. You're going into MLS, you're identifying properties that you think would be a good investment. And then you're posting those to Roofstock, and then you're working with those buyers. So maybe give a little idea to the buyers about what you're looking for specifically.
I cannot take credit. You know this. I'm going to call this the Woodling rule of 10, Mark. I'm sure you heard it somewhere else, but I give you full credit for this. I've used it a lot. And of course, I got a little kid, so I use my fingers when I count, right? But I'm going to call this the rule of 10. Could be the rule of 9, but rule of 10 is a good way to start. And what we do is we try to get properties. First, let's talk about the return investment type stuff. And Roofstock has this amazing platform. Let me tell you this: if you're a new investor, wow! I wish I had the opportunity to invest when I first started with somebody like Roofstock backing me up, right? If we haven't talked about it, Roofstock offers investors, first-time investors, they can get what's called guarantee with Roofstock, which means that they'll get a cashback guarantee. You buy a property, and it's almost like buying, like a car. You don't like the car, or you don't like this property, Roofstock will buy it back. That's huge. And number two, Roofstock will guarantee a rent payment. In other words, you buy a property, it's rented with you put it for rent with a property manager, and it doesn't rent, then Roofstock will actually guarantee the rent. There's, if you're playing bowling, Mark, that's like what I called playing bowling with the bumpers on, right? You're not gonna get a gutter ball, right? So with that said, Roofstock has an amazing back-end analytics. You guys are some of the best in the industry, and you're constantly improving that. And you look at all this huge data, right? You look at the income of the area. You look at jobs, schools, equity of other people, how many other rentals are there, and you put it all there together, and you give homes a rating system, okay? By the way, if you go to, I'm going to show you here how to get that on your website, but you go to Roofstock and you log in, you go to the top left, it says tools. You click right in there and you can have these tools, and they're readily available for you. You can analyze any property in the country, right? And so then that property will tell you what the rent should be, what the market rent is doing, and then it gives you a rating, okay? When I say rating, I'm talking about that Roofstock rating, right? There's a 5-star rating. 5 stars is going to be the best areas, the best, no rentals in the area. All the best is 5. And then all the way to the bottom, the ones are going to be higher risk. They're still good properties, but high risk, high rewards. So to answer your question, I look for properties that are a minimum of a 2-star. Do we have 1.5 and 1% star? Absolutely. Every city does. Okay. But I am looking for at least a 2-star that I'm going to put in the system. Okay. There's going to be all other kinds of properties. I get them all the time. People call me. And yes, but we're gonna start with a 2. All right. Roofstock will give you, an investor, all those guarantees that I mentioned you on a 2-star. Now, can they do it on exceptions? Probably. But we're not going to start a business with exceptions. We're going to try to do right. And 2 is the minimum. Okay. So the rule of 10 is this. If a property is a 2-star in your rating, then we're trying to get an 8% return. Okay. So 2-star, we're trying to get an 8% return. So 2 plus 8 is a 10, right? On a 3-star, then now we're trying to get a 7% return, right? 3 plus 7. Now help me with the math here. On a 6 cap, in other words, or a 6% return, that's probably going to be a 4-star, right? It may be a 5 and a 5. That is a rule of thumb, right? That's a rule of thumb, meaning that is how we measure things. It's not exactly, but I think that's a very good bumper, so you're not playing the gutter balls. That you should be trying to get 7 to 8% returns on a 2-star property. I know that answers your question. That's on the financial side. How do I pick properties? I want my investors to know that when you look at a Memphis property, you're going to be pretty close to that 10% rule, or excuse me, the Woodling rule of 10, as I call it, right?
I like it.
Thank you. The 2 plus 8, the 7 plus 3 type of stuff.
And then about condition and, areas, tell us a little bit about, what do you look for when you look at the pictures in terms of condition, and where are you looking in terms of pockets that you really like?
Well, on the condition, and on one of the things we do, just because it has that 2-star, that just gets us in the second batch that we look at. We probably look at 10 to 15 properties a day, okay? So we're adding, let's say, 60 properties on average per week into the system. But out of those, we start becoming very, very picky on the conditions of the property. And I know you asked me about the area, but let's talk about just because the area is really, the star rating really kind of helps me. If it's a 2-star, to me, that should be an 8%, 7% returns, right? But on the condition of the property, I want to make sure that an investor buys the property, they don't have to do any sort of major repairs. So my cost to cure or my rehab budget is going to be very small, unless it's big and I tell it with, blanking signs, this is a rehab. You're looking for about less than 1 month's rent on total rehab, right? Sometimes people live on the property, so we may have to clean carpets, do a coat of paint, and that's minimal, right? But even that could be a couple $1,000. And if the rent is $1,000, I'm not going to spend that much money more. So I look for minimum repair so you get maximum cash flow. When you buy them, you can rent them. And then I look at features of the home. I don't want any pools. Now, I love a pool, but I don't want to have a rental that has a pool. That's going to be, not great for somebody who's out of town buying a property, right? Those are maybe more desirable, but that's probably not the ones you want to buy and manage from across other states. So no pools and the properties you're going to see me pick. I want to make sure that the properties have HVAC, meaning no window units. And all the stuff, of course, Roofstock provides some of the world-class certifications. And what I say certifications is inspections. And so everything has to be obviously as rent ready as possible, right? Because we want to make things easy on people. We don't want to buy them. They're not buying a bottle of Advil or ibuprofen or whatever you take, Tylenol. They're not buying headaches. They want to buy ease of mind, and we want to help them navigate that.
That's great. No, hey, that's the feedback I think buyers need to know about, is that what's in your head and how are you looking at properties, because that's the result that they're seeing is all this thought and effort that goes in on your side. So just to kind of wrap up, and you tell me if there's anything else that these buyers need to know.
I got a secret for you, Mark. You're going to love this.
I want to hear your pro tips. Like, this is what I like. What's the pro tip from Pablo? Pablo's pro tips.
Let's do this. We're going to do Pablo's pro tips. I'm going to log in right now. If you can see my screen, let me know if we can see properly. Can you see me right here can you see the background?
I can. Let me go ahead and give you the speaker view. There you go.
All right. So there you go. Now, I'm on the website right now, on the Roofstock website, right? I'm going to click on buy right there, and I'm going to look for properties. Notice I'm not even logged in. So anybody can log in. If you're watching this, you can log in right now and look for properties. Now, I will ask, this is a joke, by the way. I got to, sometimes I'm too humorous. This is a joke, but I would love a little something that I wish, a wish list for Roofstock. I wish here you click on locations. I wish we have a little asterisk on the states that you don't pay income tax. Right? Like Tennessee, because then of course we'd be right on the top, right? But there's other states, but obviously I like not paying state income tax. By the way, welcome to Tennessee. We don't pay state income tax. So I'm going to click on Tennessee, right? I'm going to click on Tennessee. We'll see what comes up. Bam. These are great opportunities that we have available right now. I just put some in the market. There's actually one that just put today in the market. And then I'm going to click right here on sort, and I'm going to sort by cap rate. Now, I know the word cap rate, if you're a commercial guy, this is more like a cash on cash, right? Because sometimes you buy with leverage money, but for lack of better words, this should be more like a cash on cash analysis, right? So if I were to spend $100,000 on this property over here, and the rent is $995 after expenses, I'm making about a 7.34 cash on cash. Now, if you put money into the deal and you're getting a leverage loan and all that, but this is a great tool that you can have. And so here's what I did. This is the opportunities that right now are available that you can buy in Tennessee, right? Most of them are Memphis, but notice we have some that may be right in the suburbs, right? Like, for example, this 2.5 Beauty, right? 2.5 Beauty in Covington. That's a great area. That's a growing area, a little bit outside of the metropolitan area, that you can get for a 7.16 return, right? But here's the tip, Mark. I don't know if most people know this or not, but if you look at all this property, there's one property has one unique thing that none of them have. And if you notice right here on this little property, there's a little tiny arrow right there. Here's what the arrow means. If you kind of highlight it, it should tell you, hey, this property is actually under rented. We believe with our property managers that this property could actually be rented for more, right? So look at this deal right now. Out of all the ones around Memphis, this is like the lowest one, right? This is like, and still is not bad. It's almost a 7% return on a 2.5 star. That's actually good. But let's go ahead and click on that. This beautiful little house in Barksdale. I love the area, by the way. I think this should have been more like a 3 star than a 2.5. But again, I'll take it. I like the conservativeness that Roofstock is bringing here, right? So watch this. This is a property that right now, the renter's been there for many, many years, right? Actually, you can see inside this guy's home. This is the renter. So we have interior pictures. By the way, one of the things I look for when I put properties on the market, on the Roofstock Select, you see here, we selected these. I want to have interior photos. There's lots of properties you're going to find that have one picture on the outside. Well, we're not going to waste your time because, it could be anything on the inside. So all the pictures, all the properties that we add to the system are going to have more than one picture, and they're going to have interior photos, right? So there's a lot of, remember we said we go through 60 properties just to get to a handful. Well, all of these have interior photos, minimum, right? Now watch this. If you look at the current rent on this property, it is currently rented for $795, but they've been there a long time. And if you click on what we believe the estimated market rent, that's Roofstock system, this property really should be rented closer to $950, right? So now, but just by doing that, we were originally at a 6.3% cap rate. Now we are at a 7, almost an 8%, 7.7% return. Now watch this. On a 2.5 star, that's above our 10% rule. This is a great deal, right? And so you can find those kind of deals if you do some diligence. If you go right here on the top, it says tools and calculators, then you can use financial calculators, you can use rental calculators, and everything I'm clicking right here is available to you. And it will tell you how the neighborhood was picked, what kind of ratings. So anyways, that's the tip of the day. That's the Pablo's tip of the day for you, Mark, is look for properties that may be perhaps under rented. And so you can buy a great deal right now just because it's rented for, I'm going to click here on current, for $795. That's a great investment. You mean I can buy a property on a 2.5 star rating? You can see the pictures, right? It's in great shape, right? That house actually looks a little bit like better. Oh, actually, there's a guy on the outside. Hey, man, right? Great little house, great area, but it's under rented. Look for those little green little arrows. You can get more. And now we went from a everyday 6.3 cap. Now you're getting almost an 8 cap on a 2.5 star ratings. Where can you do that? You can do that here in Tennessee. So anyway, that's my tip of the day for you.
That's great. Oh, hey, well, I appreciate it. I think this was the perfect opportunity to look at a city from the expert's point of view. And I know there's always going to be a million other questions, but once a buyer puts in an offer, they can connect with you. And of course, before the offer goes to the listing agent, you're always going to talk to them and talk through the process. But hey, thank you, Pablo. Everybody, what's that?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, it's important that we get this message out there and buyers get to know you. And I mean, there's a lot more behind the scenes. So this is just scratching the surface, but we'll do this again. And I appreciate it and look forward to doing this on the next time.
And likewise, I look forward to it. And again, if you have not signed up with Roofstock, highly recommend it. There's great tools. Look into the guarantees program. I couldn't speak highly enough. We're really privileged and honored, and I appreciate you guys. And look for, please, Mark, tell the developers to put a little asterisk on Tennessee as a non-taxable state income tax.
Hey, I'm in the great state of Texas as well.
You're happy. Texas and Florida are good.
God bless it. Absolutely. All right. Signing off.
Thanks, man.
Thanks again.